Hello, everyone. Caren here, and welcome to this week's episode of The Passion Point. This is the show where we interview Passionistas from around the world, finding out what their passion is, basically finding out how they're making a living doing what they love. Wouldn't you like to do that as well? And today we have a special guest. Her name is Dina Proctor, and she is a coach, a business coach, and a life coach, and she's created this very cool thing, for lack of a better word. It's called 3x3. It's Meditations 3x3. So she's going to talk about that. She's also a best-selling author. And excuse me, I'm looking down. I want to make sure that I say the name of this book. She is the best-selling author of Madly Chasing Peace, How I Went From Hell to Happy in 9 Minutes a Day. I am sure our listeners want to know how you did that. And I would like to welcome you, Dina, to the show.
Thank you so much, Caren. It's such a gift to connect with you, and I'm honored and excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
The pleasure is all mine, and we like to start our shows with a definition of passion according to Webster's dictionary. It's kind of dry, it's kind of boring, but we'll let you tell us your take on passion as well. But Webster's dictionary says that it's an intense driving or overmastering feeling or conviction. That's what passion is according to Webster's. What says you, Dina?
Oh, I love that. When I feel passion, that's when I feel like I could do something all day long. It's something that I love immersing myself in, and it redefines my entire being. It's me connecting to that which is greater than myself. You know, like I always say, I'm on the 3x3 bus, but I'm not driving it. And so that feeling of just relaxing into that greater wisdom and having that free-flowing feeling, that passionate feeling flow through me, and knowing that as I connect into that deeper awareness, I am uplifting and inspiring the lives of others. For me, that's passion.
And you know what? I'm watching you talk, and I'm listening to you talk, and it is obvious the passion is just bubbling out from you. And so I would venture to say I wouldn't even have to listen to the words that you were saying. I knew you were talking about passion. You're awesome.
I love it. Thank you.
Let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about how you got to the 3x3 meditation, and take us on that journey from, you can take us all the way back when you were a little girl, if you'd like, and come on forward into the present. So tell us your story.
Okay, yeah. I'll start where it kind of gets interesting was about 5 years ago. That's when I hit my rock bottom in my life. It was the end of 2008, and I had spent, even as a little kid, I was really perfectionist. I always had to have, I couldn't have an A- grade. I needed to have an A grade, and I always had to do everything perfectly. I would make little schedules for myself. At 7:02, I would wake up. At 7:03, I would brush my teeth. At 7:12, I would do this, like my morning routine. Always had this like real perfectionist thing. And I don't know where that came from. No one else in my family is kind of like that. I can't point to my parents, instilling that in me. It was just something that I accept as some, part of who I was and how I was forging my identity. And that perfectionist kind of tendency, I think, is a lot of the root of what ended up taking me down to where I hit my rock bottom 5 years ago when I was 32 years old. I was in my 20s, and I struggled with depression. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder in my early 20s, and I was put on medications, and I went to one-on-one therapy, and I went to group therapy, and then I was put on anti-anxiety medications, and I felt like there was this hole inside of myself, this void. And I think that's what the perfectionism was doing, was just I had this inner restlessness inside of myself, and I needed something, a way to control myself or control my environment in order to make me feel safe and secure and okay. And so in my 20s, that manifested itself as I was having this deep disconnection and this major depressive disorder. And so in my trying to fill this void, I found myself very restless in the areas of my life. Like I was changing jobs every 9 months. It was like, I don't feel happy here. I don't feel fulfilled here. I need to do something else. I was volunteer of the year. I have presidential awards from all the volunteer work I've done. I've worked with, homeless people and in shelters, and I've been to Africa, and I've been to Guatemala and done fundraisers and worked for nonprofits, because I felt like if I can just give enough of myself, that will fix me. I was always...
Oh my gosh, I am listening to you and I'm saying I resonate with that. Oh my gosh. Keep going.
Yeah, and it's funny because the work I do, like I'll get back to the story, but the work I do now in helping other people, it's it's fulfilling in a way that the other work I doing never was. And it's not because I wasn't doing good work. I was doing great work. I was helping people, with their lives, but that wasn't what I was put here to do. That wasn't my passion, my kind of life purpose. Now that I'm in tune with my life purpose, there's nothing more joyful than being able to uplift and inspire other people through my method and my message. But, that was my thinking, but I wasn't kind of going about it the right way. And and changing jobs, and I was upgrading my boyfriends and moving to new cities, and I need roommates, that'll fix it. Wait, I want to live alone, that'll fix it. I need to be single, that'll fix it. Wait, I need a boyfriend, that'll fix it. That was just how I was. And towards the end of my 20s, I found alcohol. And it's funny because I was never a huge drinker. Even in college, just never really appealed to me. I didn't like the feel of alcohol being in my body. But towards the end of my 20s, I had spent 8 or 10 years trying to solve this problem and fix myself. And I was at a new point of desperation where alcohol really could just enter and take hold. And take hold it did. That became a huge addiction for me. I just kind of went down fast with it. I was partying 6 nights a week and just drinking around the clock. I needed a drink to get out of bed. I needed a drink during my lunch break at work. I needed, obviously, to drink in the nighttime. And when I started drinking so much, I began doing things that I didn't like myself for. I was becoming a morally not such a great person. I started stealing money. I was lying to everyone. I was drunk at work. I was using people, especially men, and I couldn't live with who I was becoming. And I sure couldn't quit drinking because that was the only thing that was making me feel better. So it was like this place of, I just wish I was dead. I wished I wouldn't wake up in the morning. And I had that wish for years, on and off throughout my 20s and my depression. It was like, gosh, if life is going to be this hard, I don't even want a part of it. I can't figure it out. Just take me out of here, But when I started becoming that morally, I guess, decrepit, individual, I couldn't live with myself anymore, and that's when I chose a date to take my own life. And I unintentionally ended up in an addiction recovery program. That's a whole nother story altogether that we won't go into right now. But in the addiction recovery program, when I finally surrendered to it and agreed to go through the steps in the process of it, the woman that I chose to mentor me instructed me to learn to meditate. And I remember looking at her like, yeah, meditate? What is that? Shouldn't I be like beating on pillows or venting out my feelings or writing letters? It just seemed completely impractical to just sit still. What was that going to do for me? But she was very tough love, and she said, if your way had been working, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Why don't you try my way for a while? What was I going to say, So she was very good for me. And so her instruction to me was to sit still every morning for 20 minutes and focus on my breathing. And I thought, how hard can that be? I don't think it's going to do anything, but I'll do it. And the first few mornings, Caren, when I tried to sit still for those 20 minutes, I would max out at about the 3-minute mark. It was just physically impossible because I was in withdrawal. I still had all these negative suicidal thoughts. It was like just physically impossible for me to sit still for longer than 3 minutes. Right. But she had told me 20, so a couple hours later it would nag at me like, I only did 3 minutes. Maybe I should sit and do a couple more now. A couple hours later I would think, maybe I could do a couple more minutes now, so that by the end of the day I could tell her that I did my 20 minutes. But because what ended up...
perfectionist, and you wanted to follow the rules.
I had to follow the rules. That was exactly right. That was her one instruction. I was perfectionist. I was going to do it. So that's what I did. And I would call her at the end of the day and tell her, I got my 20 minutes done. It's messy, but I did it. And she was supportive of me through that. Whatever you can do, Dina, whatever you can do, keep doing it. And what was amazingly fantastic, like the huge gift that came out of this messy 3-minute here, 3-minute there thing, was about 8 weeks after that process, I found myself in a state of no mind chatter. And I never even knew that that was possible. I was completely at peace. It was, I can only describe it as a state of higher consciousness. My awareness was physically above and behind my body. So I was hovering. It was like there was this big me essence that was hovering above and behind my body for 3 whole days. I had no mind chatter. I was in this deeply peaceful, blissful state, but also fully present in everything that I was doing. And when I was interacting with people, it was like all I could see was their soul essence. All I could see was the essence of love energy in their being. Whether or not they were connected with it, that's all I could see. Anything else just kind of faded from my vision. And from that experience, I mean, once you know that, and once you've been in that state, you can't not know that anymore. And I learned a couple things while I was in that state. You know, the first thing that was obvious to me was that there's no such thing as time. And it was really like cute that we all run around, oh, I'm late, I'm overwhelmed. Like, to me, in that grander state, it was just very obvious that there was no such thing as time. There was no need to be as urgent as most people were. And also, it was very obvious to me that anything I wanted to create in the physical world, whether it was a healing in my body, an improvement in my relationship, better financial situation, everything was created from this big essence energy first, and then reflected in the physical world. So I had been busy doing it backwards my whole life. You know, I was changing jobs, changing boyfriends, getting new cars, manipulating my exterior world, thinking that would fix the inside. It's backwards. So I saw then, no one told me, but I had the experience that if I get the inside right, that's all I need to do, and the outside then follows. So that, and then from there is where 3x3 got created. So it means 3 minutes 3 times a day of this focused meditation time period. And it's not just sitting still and focusing on breathing, it's active, you know, an active visualization of what you want to create for yourself.
So how can someone start a 3x3 meditation?
So if you want to start a practice, you know, say that you have a goal. I work with clients now. I'm starting to work with businesses too, which is really exciting. And I've been working with individuals the past couple of years. And so most of the clients that come to me are either having a problem in a relationship or having a problem with the body. You know, they want to lose weight and they've been stuck, or, you know, they want to manifest a better career and they've felt, everybody who comes has a goal and has just felt stuck for a while and has this back of the mind knowing or a kind of a belief that if they could just get their insides right, their thinking right, that this will happen. So that's kind of the people that I work best with. Those are the kind of clients that I tend to attract. And so when I coach people through a process, I tell everyone, take it 7 days at a time. So say that you want to lose 50 pounds, right? And, you know, I've heard from various different experts that it takes 21 or 28 days to change a habit. So I'm not saying that in 7 days the habit will change, but what I am saying is that if you play full out with the new mindset and new behavior technique for 7 days, you'll feel differently than you did 7 days previous. Then from that point, 7 more days, and after 3 or 4 weeks, you can say, my gosh, I really do think differently about this than I did 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I always encourage people to take it in those smaller increments, because the key is not how many times can you do it over a span of 3 or 4 weeks, you know, how many 3x3s can you do, or how many meditations. The key is playing full out with it, being able to hold an intention or a mental, you know, a new belief or a rewired brain pattern in place constantly and consistently over short bursts of time, and enough short bursts of time strung together create that new neural pathway in our brain, and then we start thinking differently about it. So, and you know, I could talk about how to start a weight loss, you know, we could go into details of how to do it, but I always encourage people 7 days at a time, and then when you choose, you know, that first plateau that you want to be experiencing, and then after 7 days, take your temperature. How do you feel? Renew it, refresh it, go on to something else.
That makes so much sense. I mean, truly, and it's just chunking it down to smaller time frame, and I like that. Can you lead us right now in a meditation so we can kind of get a sense of what that is?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Okay, great. So we'll just do something simple, and this can be something that people can use for stress relief or just to recenter themselves during the day if they feel thrown off a little bit or whatever. So, you know, Caren, if you want to participate, or anybody watching, if you want to participate in, my eyes will go open and closed. You can choose which one is most comfortable for you if you like to keep eyes open, eyes closed. And I encourage you, if you've been kind of sitting, like I've been sitting in the same position, so I might like just shake out my body a little bit and kind of renew my presence in the space right now. Even if you have limited mobility, sorry, you can even just move your head or, you know, a shift a finger or something just to renew your presence in the space right now. So then just let your body become still and become quiet. And let the chair that you're sitting in hold you up completely. No need to exert any effort right now. Just let your physical body come to a place of stillness and relaxation. And as you feel your body relax and your muscles, any tension just completely releasing, you may also notice that your thoughts are relaxing. And it just feels good to let your mind just kind of settle in and have some space there for a minute. And as you become still and present, bring your attention gently on your breath in this moment. No need to change the way that your body is breathing, but just become aware of it. Aware of this small miracle that breathing is. And as you become focused on your breath, imagine that you're breathing in the essence of what you would most like to be feeling right now. For example, it might be a sense of peace, or it may be a sense of accomplishment, or it may even be just a little bit of relief. But just find the essence of what you most wish you were experiencing right now, and as you breathe in every inhale, you're taking in that essence, and it's trickling down and infiltrating and saturating every cell of your body. And every time you inhale, just imagine that peaceful or joyful essence is gently entering your body, and it's able to travel up through your mind, through your head, and all the way down through your body, just touching and infiltrating every cell. And just stay with your breath, just a couple more breaths, just like that. Breathing in that peace, that healing, that presence, infiltrating every cell of your body. And just let yourself take one last breath, just like that. A last full breath. That essence trickling down every cell of your body, every fiber and dimension of your being, just feeling it completely infiltrating you right now. And then you can release that visualization and that intention, and when you're ready, open your eyes and return your attention to the room.
I can see how this could be very soothing if people make this part of their what they do. I mean, I felt myself completely just go whoosh.
Yeah, and it doesn't take that long. You know, it's about touching in that space. You're not doing it just once a day to check it off the to-do list. Okay, I went to the gym, I had breakfast, I had my shower, I meditated. No, this is a space to live from. It's a mindset. It's a place to live from. It's a state of mind. It's a state of being. And that's why for me, it's really important. It's more important for me to take smaller increments throughout the day than just one longer one and check it off the list.
So why is mindset so important? I mean, you've mentioned the word mindset, and I talk about mindset as well, but why is mindset so important in order to achieve results?
This is a really great question. The point of mindset is because a lot of us, especially let me use weight loss or health for just as an example so we can tie this down, make it tangible. For example, if I know that I want to lose weight, so what do I need to do? I need to eat better and I need to exercise more. Okay, so that's, just kind of common wisdom. And if I take the approach of, I'm going to use my willpower. I know that I can just discipline myself. I'm going to eat this amount of calories a day, this much carbs, this much, I'm going to itemize it all down, and then I'm going to run every single day, and I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to lift my weights, and I'm going to use willpower and discipline to get this done. Well, if we've been out of shape for a while and have not been in this, right? It's kind of like an awakening, a little bit of a shift for our body to get adjusted to. If we continue to use just this willpower without changing our mind about it, without worrying about our mindset, without focusing our mindset, we're just focusing on our physical results and we're just kind of powering our way through it, we're going to reach a time where we kind of max out, because that's where we start to feel deprived. It's like, I should eat these carrot sticks, but I really just want to eat like a cake. So we're feeling that deprivation, like, oh, I don't want to go running. Please don't make me go running today. I really should. I'm going to muster the energy and I'm going to go running. adrenaline, willpower, all of this is a good jump start. You know, it's in our lives for a reason. If we're in an emergency situation or we're starting something new, I would say, you know, if it takes a few days of transition to get the mindset under control, willpower can serve us because it'll kind of keep the engine going, it'll keep the goals, you know, the behaviors in place before the mindset comes in. But the thing is that that's not really a sustainable long-term solution, and that's why so many people, I think, fail off diets. Like, I'll give you an example about eating, right? So feeling deprived eating. Like, I have this intuitive eating practice that I developed. I know a lot of people do intuitive eating. I didn't know that when I created it. I thought it was all brand new. But anyway, I have this practice that when I go out to eat, when I'm on my intuitive eating practice, I look at the menu or the pantry or what's in the refrigerator and just ask my body, like, what are the cells in my body calling for? And keeping my focus kind of a soft focus, you know, taking in everything, not really attuned to anything, and just seeing what lights up for me or what pops for me, what feels appealing for me, and honoring that. And when I eat like that, I mean, this is a very simplified version of how I do it, but when I eat like that, it's a very satisfying experience for my body, and I have no feeling of deprivation because I've honored what the cells were calling for. I gave them what they needed, and there's no sense of deprivation. Now, when I was first developing this practice, I was invited to go out to dinner to this Italian place, and I love this Italian place. I always get the lasagna, like this huge helping of lasagna, and that's what I was craving. So they invited me for dinner. It was 9 a.m., and I started immediately. My mouth was watering. Oh, I can't wait for dinner. I can't wait to get that lasagna. I'm so excited. Like, I had the craving. So I went out to dinner. You know, it's 6 p.m. I pick up the menu, and I was like, I don't even need to look at the menu. I know what I'm getting. And I remembered, wait a minute. This is not how I eat anymore. Let me do my intuitive eating thing. And so I just let the thought of the craving just kind of to the side for a second and looked at the menu, and I just said, okay, body, like, what looks good to you? And there was like this vegetable wrap thing or whatever, and I thought, you know what would be really good is like all those veggies, like there was a zucchini and some cauliflowers, I don't remember what, and I just thought that would be so good, like sauteed in some garlic and olive oil. So I asked the waitress, can I get that? And she said, I don't see why not, sure. And just the thoughts of the craving of lasagna just kind of left me. And it didn't bother me, and, you know, didn't nag at me like I was feeling deprived. The meal came, and I ate. It was so satisfying. I was mindful while I was eating. I was fully present. I was with people. You know, this isn't a practice where you have to be alone. It just, everybody's looking at the menu. I'm just doing something different as I look at the menu. It doesn't take any extra time. And then as I'm eating, I'm being mindful about it, and I'm just noticing that this beautiful food is nourishing my body. My body knows how to extract exactly what it needs and discard anything it doesn't need. And I had this really satisfying dinner. Now, if I would have gone about that and gone to the same restaurant without my mindset having been changed, without the intuitive eating being in place, I would have gone to the restaurant and thought, I really want this lasagna, but I shouldn't. I really just should eat the vegetables. Ugh, all right, can I just get the vegetables? You know, and had a resentment about it, or this like sense of deprivation about it. So if I would have gone home after that not so satisfying meal, I may have been setting myself up for a binge either that night or later on. So that's the importance. You see what the distinction I'm making with
actually
mindset.
That's fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
I never really thought of that in that way, and that's a nugget that I'm taking away from our interview today. That's actually very fascinating. What do you tell people that are lost and just, you know, they've lost their passion, they've lost their mojo, they can't seem to get back up on the horse? What do you tell people?
It's such a good question. This is because sometimes, well, I haven't felt like that in a long time, but I used to. When I was depressed, it was just, there's nothing here for me. Everything seems like it's such hard work. I have no idea what I would really want to be doing. How can I even find that out? Well, I believe, because I'm living a dream I didn't know that I had. If you would have told me I was going to write a book and share my story with the world 3-4 years ago, I would not have believed you. I didn't even want that. That wasn't even something that was on my radar that I wanted. So I'm telling people that so that even if there's something that is not even on your radar as a possibility, that doesn't mean it's not a possibility if certain things about your life shift. So just staying open-minded, staying really intuitive, and just adopting a curiosity about it. It's the same way, like, Caren, if you and I were sitting on the side of a road and I said, okay, Caren, watch and count all the red cars that go by. And so we sit for 5 minutes, and you're counting them, and then I say, okay, how many white cars did you see? You'd be like, I was counting the red ones. I don't know if there were any white ones going by. The point that I'm making there is that we see what we focus on. So if we're looking at it and saying, it doesn't mean there weren't any white cars, but we weren't focused on it, so we didn't really notice them. So the point that I'm making is that if we're looking at it as there's no passion for me, I don't know where I'm ever going to find my passion, there's nothing here for me, we're not creating the space where we could possibly see it. So what we need to do is just soften about that a little bit and become kind of curious about, everyone else around me, a lot of people are finding their passion, and I believe that there's something for everyone. I wonder if there could be something for me. I'm willing to keep my eyes open. I'm willing to be able to see. And more importantly than any of that is I'm willing that if something intuitively comes to me, a class to take or a coffee shop to visit that I don't normally, and I'm just feeling intuitively drawn to meet different people or go up to someone I normally wouldn't have, I'm going to honor that. Because that may lead me down. I was inspired intuitively to take a writing class. I had no idea that was going to eventually lead to a book. Like, I quit the class, and 6 months later, I hadn't even touched my writing. It was like, I'm done. But then different synchronicities of people that I met who held that vision for me. So even if you're involved in something and can't see where it could possibly lead, that doesn't mean that there's not a bigger plan or a bigger path. So it's about cultivating that openness and that curiosity about what's possible.
Yeah, and I like that word, the curiosity, and I think that's something that we can all latch onto. So I'm all about quotes. I don't know about you, but I'm all about quotes. And I like to talk about my favorite quotes, and I'm going to ask you to share one of yours as well. And today's quote from me comes from a gentleman. His name is Jay Silver. And he writes, "My idea of a perfect world really can't be designed by one person or even a million experts. It's going to be 7 billion pairs of hands, each following their own passions."
Oh. I like that. I don't know if I could top that. That's a good one.
I'm sure. I have a feeling you can.
Well, I'll share my favorite quote. I actually put this in the very beginning of my book because it was a quote that really spoke to me. It's Deepak Chopra, and he says, "Chaos is only an illusion. If you're seeing chaos, you cannot see far enough." I'm butchering it a little bit, but it's like, if what you see is chaos, you're not seeing far enough. And I just thought that's such an amazing quote, because knowing that if I'm too close to something, I can't see that bigger picture. Like, if you're too close to a painting, you're not going to be able to see what the bigger picture is, what the artist was really going for. So stepping back and being able to see, I see how the laws of the universe, the laws of attraction are all working. My mindset is working to create my reality here. So if what I'm seeing looks chaotic to me, it just means I need to step back and get a bigger perspective. I'm not seeing from far enough back.
Great advice. Great advice. And so, taking that one step further, let's take a step back. If you could spread passion dust anywhere around the world, on anyone around the world, where would you spread it, and what would you hope to accomplish?
I think what I would do, I love the passion dust, if I could sprinkle that everywhere. What my big dream is, of course, 3x3 meditation changed and transformed my life. So my dream is to see it just available to anybody in the world that it resonates with, to be able to be uplifted by that. But even bigger than that, I would love to just hold the message out that meditation, mindset, visualization, all these interior work techniques, that every single person has access to them, whether we know it or not, and just opening that door so that they're able to realize, like, wait a minute, I have access to power I may not even know that I have. And there could be a technique or a process or a person or an inspirational book to awaken me to that, to be open to that. So I think that's what I would want to be universally available around the world.
And there's no question, Dina, that you're going to do that. You're driven, obviously. You're motivated. I'm not going to call you perfectionist because you're not, right?
Nope.
And I am sure that you're going to meet your intentions. Your mindset is certainly there. So one last question before we start to close off our interview here, and that is, do you have a guilty passion?
I kind of left guilt behind a while ago because that wasn't serving me, but I get what you're getting at. It's, kind of something Um, Yeah, I know. I do like chocolate. I enjoy eating. I enjoy food. I like trying different foods and things. So I might go with that. I like watching movies and stuff too, and not to the point where, because I used to have an addiction mentality towards stuff, and what makes it different now is that I don't necessarily need it. I enjoy it, but if it was taken away from me, I would be okay with that type of thing. So yeah.
Well, Dina, it has been absolutely a pleasure talking with you, and I'm sure that our listeners and our viewers are wanting to know how to get in touch with you. So let's give them something to hold on to. How do they reach you? You have your website is posted right under your name, but is that the only way? How do they reach out to you and get in touch with you?
Oh yeah, I try to keep my website so that everything about what I'm doing and my work is on there. So that's the very best way to find me. It's madlychasingpeace.com. There's a contact thing, and there's audio meditations, information on the book. I've got a video series. So I just like to have all kinds of different resources. And I have YouTube videos. They're free, newsletter, and I try to pack that with some good video content every couple weeks as well. But that is the absolute best place to find out what I'm up to and get in touch.
And I know that you have a subscription because I'm subscribed to it. I get a daily 3x3 that just gives me a thought for the day or something to do, and it's awesome. So for those of you who are listening, get on over to the website and sign up because you can get a little piece of Dina every single day. So, Dina, again, thank you so much for being with us today, and I want to thank all of our listeners as well. We know that you have a choice as to how to spend your day, and we are so blessed that you chose to spend it with us today. So have a great afternoon, everyone, and we will see you next week for the next episode of The Passion Point. Goodbye, everyone.